Welcome to the Love Government. I'm Dennis Leary. We're doing a series of videos called Sex Cards. These cards are informational units, gives us energy, gives us information, helps us to do the things we want to do, which is to be a true lover and to fix the world. Sounds like a big order, right? Fix the world. But that's what we're in the game for, is to change the course of this world to make it more loving. This is the 30th card in this series. The 30th card appears down here on the overall plan. It's in the suit of life, and it's the second one up. It's called the Two of Life in the card game, and it's called Plant. In life, we start with cells. And they could be at the very basic level, they can be mineral cells. You go from mineral to plant to animal in the progression of the kingdom, so to speak. And now we are on the plant kingdom. Plants are our life in the sense that we have to eat plants to live. In the Love Government, we advocate for a vegan diet, because out of respect for the animals, but basically because plants are our source of food, ultimately. Even if you eat meat, the meat eaters ate the plants. So it all goes back to plants is our source of life. Now plants can be of two natures. They can be potions, which is on this side, or they can be poison on this side. And we have to know the difference. Otherwise we can poison ourselves. This is a metaphor also for the culture that we live in. If we're ingesting poisons into our system, which could be poisonous ideas, poisonous habits, poisonous addictions, it's going to affect us. It's going to really, really hurt us and our culture. So we have to, first of all, know the difference, and then we have to act in a way that's going to be beneficial. And that's why there are two sides of the card system, because we can look at both sides and we can make a choice. On the positive side, then, it's a potion. And that side is represented by the Ace of Cups. Here, once again, out of the nebula of life, like the big nebula up in the sky from which the stars come, the lover reaches out her hand. It's the creative hand. The hand stands for the vagina. Out of her vagina comes life. And she's holding in her hand a cup, which is another expression of her sexuality. The cup is a holding vessel. And in this case, it's holding water. So the lover has the waters of life inside of her, and they pour out. The cup overfloweth. The cup has a W on the front of it, standing for probably woman, or water, or the world. And the cup is flowing with 5 streams of water. This is another take on the imagery of the 5 stars. Most of the stars that we've seen in the pentacles have this 5 extension. That's the 5 extensions of our human body. And here we have 5 water spouts coming out with the same idea, that the lover is giving out water to us through her hands, through her feet, and through her vulva. Now this gets rewrote in the Bible of the Christians. Jesus on the cross had the 5 wounds. Blood came from his hands and his feet, and then the soldier pierced his side, and blood and water came out of that. All of these things are very interesting, and that is said to be salvation for the Christians. Salvation comes through a man who suffers on the cross and dies and sheds his blood for us, and then out of his side comes blood and water. And he said to us, if you thirst, come to me and drink, as I give you the waters of life. Now Jesus, who we translate in the Love Government book as she's us, because she's us is very feminine. And Jesus was very feminine in the stories. He surrounded himself with women and children. He apparently loved them. So Jesus is a symbol for she's us in a larger sense. Actually, the word Jesus comes from a five Greek word, Iezus, which is really a made-up name with number and letter relationships that make a mathematical proportion. It's too long a story to tell here, but anyway, it's made up. So the patriarchs rewrote the original love story in terms of, and I'm familiar with Christianity, had a saving person saving us with his blood, and out of his side comes blood and water, which supposedly saves us. But it doesn't make any sense, not to me. But I was raised in it, so I believed it, because I was more or less forced to or manipulated into doing so. But now I see where that comes from. It comes from a very natural situation in the love culture from the woman's body, which saves us. Every time she has a baby, it's a type of saving us. Every time she has sex and releases her sexual fluids, it saves us because it nurtures the earth. So the woman is the natural savior, and out of her body, out of her vulva, comes blood and water in a natural way, and that's what saves us. See, if she retains the blood, she makes a baby. If she sheds the blood, then it's nurturing of the earth. But that all gets rewritten under patriarchy because of their agenda, which is to exert power over us and build a pyramid like this instead of down here like this. They're trying to get away from this because they're jealous, they're insecure, and therefore they have to try to assert their power in devious ways. And so they create a heaven up there, saying we're going to go up there and be rewarded for killing the earth. Can you imagine such a story? We buy it. You're going to go to heaven and be rewarded for killing the earth. Doesn't make any sense, but it's power initiated out of fear and threat. So the love government taps back into the love culture as an example of that 100,000 years ago with this story here. This is the true story. And the other part of this picture is the dove coming above, holding a host. The host is the host that's in the communion, consumed in the communion rite. So in the textual part of it, Jesus says, "Eat my body, drink my blood." And then the Christians believe that the bread that they eat is the body of Christ. So that's why that host is there. And then they believe that the wine is drinking his blood. Well, there is a truth behind that, but it's been kind of corrupted in the rewrite. The original thing is that everything is the lover's body. Everything. That's what we start off as the premise that we develop in the book. But the lover's body is everything that is. And so therefore, when she says, well, I'll give you these plants to eat, that's her body. All these plants that you're eating, and the bread, the bread is the host. So you're eating her body in a symbolic way and in a very real way. See, in the rewriting process, it gets all mixed up and confused. So the male, his story, rewrote her story, but it gets all confused. And then it confuses our minds, which is part of the psychological operations they're using. They want us to be confused because it disempowers us. And so we got all these confusing stories that we're brought up with. And this, I'm just relating to the religious stories that were brought up. If you live in but the secular stories are just as confusing. If you're brought up in an elite family that's sitting up near the top of this pyramid, you're getting stories about money. How money is the great thing. Money is the invisible hand. The wonderful market is the waters of life. Those stories are just as stupid and crazy, but they're all forced, they're fraudulent, and they're forced on us with coercion and different psyops. It's a psychological operation to confuse your mind and then force you to accept things that really don't make sense, that are ripped out of the natural context, and they don't work. They're not sustainable. And they're going to destroy us. But the people at the elites of these pyramids, they don't care about the earth, really, because they're going to money heaven. They actually think they're going to take their money with them in some way. They're going in that direction, which takes us away from here where the truth is. It's two very basic, conflicting orientations. And it's very important to understand that. Here, the lover, you can interpret this poison side here in two ways. The lover is offering her cup of water, her cup of love, her cup of sexual waters, her cup of true understanding in a love-mind way, and now he's thinking that maybe that's poison. So things get wired backwards. What's really the potion of life becomes in the mind of people that have been perverted or corrupted, it becomes poison. And the poison becomes what they think is the life. So see how things get backwards, screwed around, twisted around, and you get chaos, confusion, which suits the purposes of the people who are running the show, building this kind of a pyramid so they can sit at top. But even they're not secure there, because some part of them knows that this is going to crumble someday. And they're thinking they're going to be rewarded in heaven for killing the earth. That's how absurd it can get. And then you wonder why we have the conditions in our society that we do. Because the world has been turned violently upside down. Violently. And with lots of trickery and lies upon lies upon lies, constantly bombarding us. That's the situation we're in, but where there's a way out. And that way out is truth and love in action. Now this is one action we're taking here. We're doing a type of ceremony or rite in which we hopefully are experiencing some love, some joy, some happiness, and some truth. And then we keep that, we wrap it up, so to speak, in some observable form, some sign language, some memorable things. And that's what we do here. We take the love. You can feel the love in your hands, right? You feel it. Feel the love. And we take it up and make a little ball out of it, or whatever we're going to make a star out of it. And then we give it, first of all, if it's water, in this case, the waters of life, and we make the sign of the crest in the name of the lover, the mother, and the father. Ah, woman, come down here to the lap area with the cup. We hold the waters of love in our hands. We drink it, or wash ourselves with it, and then we give it out to the world in general. And this is what it's going to take. Lots of this love. So thank you for being with us.